Hello again from Severalnines. In this video session, we're going to show you a cluster control hands-on, which is a cluster-to-cluster replication for a PostgreSQL setup. Okay, now we're in the cluster control dashboard. What you can see right now, we have a very simple setup. We have master and two slaves on top of it, which is HA proxy as its load balancer. So we'll go ahead and create a cluster-to-cluster replication for a PostgreSQL setup. So how you can do that, you just have to click this rock icon and then go over to this create slave cluster. It is tagged new, but it's actually been released since 1.7.4, since I'm actually using currently 1.7.6 and 3972, which is the build number. So as of this recording, so let's go ahead and create that. Oops, let me click. Okay, so unlike MySQL, in PostgreSQL you have only one option. You can only replicate from the master, which is 192.168.70.30. Let's click the button and then you set up your SSH user. I just left empty for sudo password since this is already a sudo. Okay, and then let's just left the us all enabled. So no sudo password since it's already under the sudoers as all. So let's specify this user and password. Don't forget that it has to be the exact version, same as the source for your target node. So let's hit continue, and then I'll just select the IP. Just consider that this is your actually your node under on a different data center. Since this is on my test bed, so you might notice that it has the same classes of IP. So, but basically, it should work with if your node is on a different data center on a different cloud provider. So you just have to click enter, and then it tries to do as host delivery. You just have to continue and then deploy. So it is a job, one job being created. Let's check that. Okay, this will take a few minutes. It depends on your system, so and your bandwidth, of course. So we'll get back into that later. So for now, I'm gonna post this and get back to that. Okay, the job process now done. So let's get a review it. Okay, so it tries to install the dependencies for the target node, and then let's go over here. It tries to set up the configuration and, for example, PGHBA for authentication for PostgreSQL, which is actually automated or set up by ClusterControl itself. ClusterControl also tries to auto-tune some specific variables that it is vital for running your PostgreSQL initially. Well, of course, you can actually customize this based on your required configuration. And then, as you can see, it continues from here and then tries to create required signal files or flag files for standby and recovery. And then here, let's see that. Okay, it tries to grant some privileges here. For example, the controller, which is actually for cluster control, it detects the IP address. So it does a host discovery, and then set up the remaining configuration file, which is required or needed by cluster control to make it work. So everything looks fine here. It tries to update the PGHBA for PostgreSQL authentication file, and so on and so forth. So let's see. Okay, let's click the cluster. Let's click clusters. Yes. Okay. So this is how it works, and this is how it looks. So we have now a slave which is actually running, and just think that this can be on a different data center. So you can have your slave running on separately or desperately from your on-prem environment. So, for example, you can extend your cluster to another cloud provider like AWS, GCP, or in Azure. So, okay, so this is how it works for cluster to cluster for PostgreSQL. It's very straightforward. So that's all. Thank you.